Walker. Tommy Coyne is the striking partner for Dzikanowski, and Peter Grant is likely to join Paul McStay in the midfield engine room. And Pat Bonner's form is in one bright spot during Celtic's troubled times, and he's sure to be the Republic of Ireland's last line of defence in the World Cup in Italy. And the captaincy has weighed heavily on Paul McStay as he tries to inspire a return to form and confidence for his team. But he's a class player, and he's never been more important to his club than that. Hibs have freshened up their side with teenager William Miller making his debut wearing number 4. But I reckon he'll play it right back, releasing Paul Kane to a striking role beside Keith Houchin up front. Well, goalkeeping class in abundance this afternoon. Scotland's number 2 Andy Gorham plays for Hibs, and he's pressing Jim Leighton for the number 1 spot for Scotland in Italy. And this is a great chance for John Collins to show his class. He leaves for Genoa tomorrow with the World Cup squad, and this is an opportunity he will relish. The referee this afternoon, Mr. Douglas Yates from Perth. Well, recent form would suggest that confidence should be at a low ebb for both these clubs, and with the overhead and underfoot conditions absolutely foul, it really is going to be a very testing afternoon. Rain swirling around the stadium, a blustery wind, it's very wet indeed underfoot. There's Dobchek. Bolton couldn't keep it in. There's McGinley linking with Houchin. The early ball inside. Chris Morris showing a lot of confidence there, chesting that back to Bonner as Pat McGinley closed in. Well, no sign of a confidence problem here for Chris Morris. That's excellent defending. And Collins, guilty of a little nudge on McStay, gives away a free kick in a dangerous position. Paul Elliott and Derek White make their way into the box for Celtic. Hibs have pulled everyone back. Across the far post, the cover was adequate for Hibs. Elliott complaining he was balked as he made his run. Chris Morris sending us across beyond Andy Gorham, queuing up at the far post. Elliott was there, so was Houchin with Hunter and Coyne. There's Coyne, stopped by Hamilton. McStay returning it, looking for Fulton, up goes Neil Orr. Well, that's inside the penalty area and must have been close to a foul. Throw from Fulton. Here's Paul McStay. Fulton again. Brought down by Kane. He'll be in trouble this time, the Hibs player. Well, Paul Kane certainly has been putting himself about. Here was Fulton, being hustled by Neil Orr, number 7 in the first instance, and then taken out of the play by Kane. So it's the first yellow card of the match for Paul Kane of Hibs. Dobchek's free kick. No one there to take advantage as the Hibs defence hesitated. That came off Houchin. It's a corner to Celtic. They're building up the pressure now. They certainly had territorial advantage right from the start, Celtic. Looking now for the crucial opening goal. Derek White is on the goal line for Fulton's corner kick. Up goes Elliott. And Keith Houchin did well, marking the Celtic centre-half all the way. So Elliott coming for this, Houchin not giving him a clear leap, and the ball came off the Hibs centre-forward's head. So another corner kick. The variation this time. Fulton sends it across. There's Hamilton. Grant. Grant brings it clear. There's Paul Elliott. Stopped by Sneddon. And Galloway overhitting the pass towards Steve Fulton. Kane to Miller. Collins, now Orr. Collins making the run, followed by Elliott. Oh, fine play by Collins. Still coming inside, running into Grant. Well, that's a feature of John Collins' play, quite apart from his skill. He's immensely strong. Head flick on there from McGinley. Here's Galloway. Well, Jakinovski goes inside, well tackled by Sneddon. Carelessness by Collins. Here's McStay. Now Fulton. The angle ball beyond Graham Mitchell. There's the header! Celtic go ahead as Jackie Jakinovski. 27 minutes gone. Error there by Collins, punished severely here as McStay opens it up with a pass to the left. Here was Fulton. Just watch this go over the head of Graham Mitchell. Jakinovski goes in and Gorham had no chance at all. Jackie Jakinovski gets his 16th goal of the season and brings the Celtic crowd to life. Jakinovski forward. Here's Coyne. Appeared to strike a Hibs player going forward. Was it a handball? Yes. It was a handball, and the referee has given the free kick outside the box, it would appear. Well, I wondered about that. It looked to me as though it must have been inside. It came off Graham Mitchell's arm. Well, I think that may well turn out to be a let-off for Hibs. Unless, of course, Celtic can cash in on the set piece. So Chris Morris over the free kick. 6 in the wall here for Hibs. And a great save from Gorham. There's Galloway. And once again, Andy Gorham to Hibs' rescue. Well, that's the quality of goalkeeping which makes Gorham so important. Morris driving out toward the far corner. Gorham on his feet quickly, and this was equally good. There's Grant. Caught from behind by Kane. Well, Kane's already been booked, so he's living very dangerously indeed. Well, Kane appears to have survived. There was Grant on the turn, Kane sliding in from the back. He certainly got his foot to the ball first, but the referee has decided that was a free kick, and he's taking no action against Kane, so that's an interesting one. There's Fulton, looking for Elliott. Another header there on the goal line is Gorham. It was Jakinovski who got to that again, and Celtic now are in full cry. Fulton's free kick, Elliott does well. In comes Jakinovski, and once again, Gorham is quick. Houchin. Tough clash there, and Morris and Collins. Paul McStay. Jakinovski's layoff, there goes Grant. Superb play from Celtic. The early ball inside for Coyne. Well, that was Celtic right back to the best. A superb sweeping move right from their own half. Peter Grant showing an amazing ton of pace there to get to the ball, laying it in for Coyne, who couldn't get the shot on target thanks to the attentions of Miller. Fulton, Jakinovski. Delightful skill again from the Polish international. There's McStay. On Morris. Galloway's return pass. Great play from Celtic. And Morris trying to be very deliberate with that cross. Found it cut off by Hunter. Superb build-up once again from Celtic, releasing Morris on the right. Look at all the time he had. But Hunter was there to intercept. Snowden plays it forward. Here's McGinley and Collins. Houchin setting it up for Kane. This is Orr. In the final minute of the first half. That Hibs move breaks down with the cross from Muir. Here's Paul McStay. Great skill again from Jakinovski. Looks for the return from his countryman, Dobchek. There's Fulton. Now McStay using Morris as the decoy. There's Galloway. Back with Grant. Now Fulton. Dobchek makes the run. Muir was up more quickly. Here's Kane. Good play by White. Dobchek takes over. Another there by Morris. Collins trying to cash in now. Houchin is up, so is McGinley. It's still Collins going all the way himself. It's a classic from John Collins. Right on the half-time whistle. John Collins serves World Cup notice with this. Cashing into the midfield area, coming forward himself, showing poise, showing confidence, and then showing shooting power. His 8th goal of the season. And Hibs have been right out of things throughout the first half. Suddenly find themselves on level terms. I'm sure Celtic can scarcely believe that. And indeed, there goes the half-time whistle. The first 45 minutes ending on that dramatic note. Celtic, having dominated throughout the first period, going ahead after a John Collins error, which was cashed in by Paul McStay. Then Fulton's cross, Jakinovski's header. It was all Celtic, and then John Collins redeemed himself with this incredible equaliser, powering forward from midfield and drilling the ball beyond Pat Bonner. So the half-time score, Celtic 1, Hibs 1. Don't miss the second half. Welcome back to Celtic Park with Hibs starting this second half with renewed hope and confidence after that stunning equaliser just on the half-time whistle. Celtic have to start the battle all over again, and still with these miserable conditions. Rain still falling steadily, wet and heavy underfoot. Chris Morris unhappy with his teammates ahead of him. He's having a little discussion there, we could call it, with Mike Galloway. Galloway's head flick. Here's Snedden. Galloway inside. Good play by McStay. That's for Jakinovski. Promising for Celtic. And a lot of credit there goes to Gordon Hunter for the speed with which he closed down Jakinovski. Let's take a look at that. A good move though this from Celtic. Galloway to Paul McStay. The pass played into the path there of Jakinovski. But just look how well this is judged in the end by Hunter coming across and forcing the shot to go wide. Here's Collins. He'll be brought down by Peter Grant. An apology offered by Grant. He'll be spoken to by referee Yates. The apology is offered by Grant. Hibs looked completely out of it until that Collins goal. I wonder what they can do in the second half. Celtic will have been fired up by the half-time pep talk from Billy McNeil. And let's see if that can be an early fruit for them. Jakinovski towards McStay, but here's McGinley. Space on the right for Houchin to exploit. The early ball played in, and Elliott has to be careful. There's McGinley, he's brought down by Bonner. Well, that certainly was controversial because McGinley got to the ball ahead of Pat Bonner and then went down. Referee Yates is waving aside any appeals here. Now, this is an error by Paul Elliott, no question about that. He's sloppy here with a fast back. There's McGinley, gets to the ball first, and then, for my money, was clearly brought down by Bonner. And that, for me, should have been a penalty kick. Here's Orr. McGinley stopped there by White, and Hibs have the throw. There's McGinley. Orr playing it in low. Brave goalkeeping that from Pat Bonner. Houchin closing in rapidly. Bonner took a knock. McGinley to Neil Orr. He played it in low. Kane got a touch. It was between Bonner and Houchin, and the keeper won it. Mitchell's header. Ryan Hamilton. Pressurised all the time by McStay. Hibs coming forward again. They'll certainly not be unhappy to leave Celtic Park with a point, I reckon. There's Paul Kane. Such a good strike of the ball from long range, Paul Kane. And he brought out a good save there from Pat Bonner. He must have been surprised by the ferocity of that effort. The keeper very relieved to see that go wide. And Celtic making a change. They're taking off Mike Galloway. So the former Hearts player who cost £500,000 goes off, and the replacement, another expensive signing, Joe Miller, who cost £650,000 from Aberdeen. That's an attacking move from Celtic. McStay to Elliott. Led off by Coyne. There's Miller's first involvement in the play. Here's Joe Miller again with a great chance for Celtic. Queuing up in the middle, and it's Neil Orr who gets there first. Morris sends it in, Orr is there again. Elliott forcing the ball to the far side. And a debt due to Neil Orr by Hibs. So Joe Miller making an immediate impact, pulling that right across the 6-yard box. Gorham couldn't hold it, and Neil Orr got there first. McStay to Morris. Here's Jakinowski. Morris. Here's Walker, screening the ball well from Mitchell, setting it up for Jakinowski. Collides there with Paul Kane. And faint appeals for a penalty waved aside by the referee correctly, I think. Long ball forward from Kane. Here comes Houchin. There's Hamilton waiting in the middle. McGinley's also getting up. Houchin sends it in. White was there. And that's a corner kick now to Hibs. There's John Collins. Mitchell get his head to that, but no threat to Bonner. Just a couple of minutes remaining now. Here's Jakinowski. Clearance from Miller. Kept in by Dobchek. Here's Andy Walker with a great chance. Walker stealing in between Mitchell and Sneddon. That was a golden opportunity. There's the control on the chest. The shot doesn't make contact. That surely would have won it for Celtic. There's Collins. Away from Miller. And from McStay until that late tackle came in. John Collins waiting now to take the free kick into the last minute of the match. Touched on by Orr. That was treacherous for the Celtic defence. Derek White did well. It's this delicate touch on from Neil Orr which caused the problem. Here's Collins with the corner. Bonner comes to meet it. Here's Paul Kane. Playing it wide for Orr. This will come straight into the area, I reckon. They'll have to do it at the second attempt. His eye off the ball, and Celtic have a late chance now in the break. Neil Orr retrieving things as the final whistle goes. The Hibs fans are happy, but the Celtic supporters certainly do not appear to be. They have scored their first goal here at Celtic Park since December 16, but it hasn't been enough for victory. That goal from Jankowski in the first half being equalised by John Collins just on a half-time whistle. And for all the effort provided by Celtic throughout the second period, they seldom threatened seriously, and the Hibs defence appear to cope with some comfort. The final score, Celtic 1, Hibs 1.
John, you were involved in some of the key incidents this afternoon, but you were involved, sadly in the first instance, for you with the Celtic goal. How do you recall that?
Well, that's right. I think I gave a short pass in the midfield, and one of the Celtic midfield players intercepted it. The ball went wide and whipped into the box and header. Goal.
Well, and all you can do, of course, is watch that happening after you've lost possession. How do you cope with that?
Well, obviously you're disappointed, but you've just got to try and forget about it and get on with the game.
Let's talk about the happier one then, the goal that brought you right back into things before half-time. What do you remember of that?
Well, I just picked the ball up in the middle of the park and started driving at the Celtic defence, and they seemed to back off me. So the gap opened up, I just cut inside the ball out and space was there, so I hit it back of the net.
It seemed to make a big difference to the run of the game. How did you see it from there on?
Well, I think we grew in confidence after the goal and started playing some good football and got on top of Celtic. When the start of the game we really struggled, we sat back and Celtic came at us, which is the wrong thing to do at Parkhead.
Do you think the game has some significance for Hibs generally, the fact that you come here and get a point after a difficult spell?
Well, as you say, we've had a bad spell lately, so hopefully this result will give the lads confidence and we'll start climbing back up the league.
Now, from your own point of view, you're off in the morning to Genoa. How significant is that for you at this stage in your career?
Well, it was a really big boost for me. I was delighted when the squad was announced, so I'm really looking forward to it. But obviously I'm taking nothing for granted.
Is that your main motivation now for the rest of the season?
Definitely. I think that must be every player's motivation from out there of the season to get into the squad.
Now, everyone I think knows your contract ends at the end of this year. Is that something right at the back of your mind now until the World Cup or until the decision is taken in that respect?
Definitely, it's definitely at the back of my mind. The World Cup was my main aim at the moment.
Well, our guest this afternoon is Bertie Auld, the former Celtic player and Hibs manager. Bertie, I recall you as a top-class left-sided midfield player. So how do you rate John Collins?
Well, I think he's a very, very good player. He's a very valuable player to Hibs. He's the type of player that if he came available, Jock, and I was manager, I would like to have him. He goes at people, he's got a lot of determination and a tremendous passer of the ball. And one thing he can do is what we noticed there, he could finish. He's a very accurate player.
And do you think he has the quality right now that could take him into the World Cup squad?
Well, there's no doubt about it. They're few and far between of that calibre. If you have a look at his determination, and what I like about him as well is he gets on to the end of things. He can defend and also attack.
So you'd break the bank for him, would you, if you were managing?
Yeah, if he was available, I would say yes, that would be one player that I would like, because they're few and far between left-sided players with that quality.
So much for John Collins then. Now let's talk about Celtic. They've had difficult times recently. How do you see their problems on the evidence of yesterday?
From where the television cameras were, and it definitely looked a good penalty. As you see, it's went through, it's his hand that's actually fell backwards and touched it. It was in, I would say it was in the box, and I'd have given it a penalty.
Behind the goal makes it clear, I think, that it was a foul.
That's
the
right.
doubt is, was it inside or outside?
Well, where we are, I think it was definitely a penalty.
Now here's one for Hibs to redress the balance. What do you think of that?
Well, there's no doubt about it, that was definitely a penalty. But here again, I would be a wee bit disappointed in a defender trying to play a short pass back like that. He must become a defender and put it out the box.
That was at 1 each in the second half, so that would have taken Hibs perhaps to victory.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And I have no doubt about Celtic, if they'd have got the penalty when the incident occurred, that they would have went on and won, because they were playing really well. In the second half, Hibs dominated the game. Their midfield, as I say, Collins and the boy Kane, they started to believe in themselves, and Celtic had no answer for them at all.
Now, two players who were very impressive, I think, were the goalkeepers. We had Andy Gorham in one end and Pat Bonner in the other. Now, Andy Gorham is a player who I think will go to Italy in the World Cup. How well did you see his performance?
Well, all we had to do is look at his couple of saves, and his positional sense was tremendous. Here,
It's a great double save, isn't it?
That's right, he's come out and he's smothered it, and he's out about between the 6-yard and the goal line there. That was a great save. A wee bit surprised that there weren't another move there. I mean, to say Hibs had given Celtic that area to hit in, and the goalkeeper, oh, don't get me wrong, it still saved it, but I mean, that's where they gave him to hit. There wasn't an awful lot of imagination there, Jock, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, he is quick going down, isn't he?
Oh, tremendous. Look at that. That was right at the back post. He came from the near post to the back post and smothered it at the back post again.
Now, Pat Bonner, too, for Celtic, he's been very important because, well, the rest of the team's been struggling. He has played so well.
He has come on leaps and bounds these last couple of years since he established himself with the Irish team. And he's a very, very brave goalkeeper. I like the way he's handled it. And there, when he came out, he smothered it. He's covered every angle, yeah. Very, very good. Two good goalkeepers there.
Now, it's always good to see a young player appear in the scene, and we saw a man with the name Willie Miller, the second Willie Miller appear in the Scottish game at right back for Hibs. What were your impressions?
Well, you had said to me before the game he was a young player, and to me he looked an experienced player because he had everything about a defender. He had a lot of composure on the ball, and also if you have a look at his positional sense when he was trying to push people the way that he was wanting to dictate to, which, I mean, here, look at that. He covers really well. He comes in and tucks in and clears the ball. He looked a very, very good player there.
I understand too that he was very nervous before this game. Obviously, it was his debut, he would be, but he showed tremendous composure.
He did. And look at him there dictating to Coyne there to push him to the flanks. He was dictating to the player on the ball.
So, Willie Miller, a big future for Hibs?
Very much so. He showed there that he's got something to give Hibs at this particular moment.
And a lot of pace too at the back, didn't he?
That's right, and they looked very comfortable on the ball. He didn't give the ball away too easily.
Bertie, thanks very much indeed.
A test of physical endurance, this match.